Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Once again, Brother Muhammad Baba Sharif, and today we'll be talking about the weaponization of anti-Semitism and arrogance of Israel. It is about 110 days now since October 7th of 2023. The Israeli Army, Navy, and Air Force, backed, supported, and funded by America, France, Britain, and their European Union allies, continue to bomb and kill innocent Palestinians in their critical infrastructures under the false pretext and disguise of self-defense. The civilian casualties and death toll have now risen to over 26,000 men, women, children, and the elderly, with over 64,000 wounded. Despite the International Court of Justice provisional orders issued recently, the Israeli Prime Minister has vowed to continue his genocide against the Palestinian people in constant and repeated violation of every humanitarian and international law. As Israel continues its discriminate killings of innocent Palestinians in Gaza, we have witnessed and continue to see the blatant and deliberate strategy by Israel and the Zionist movements and lobbies along with their allies to weaponize the term and terminology anti-Semitism. This means that every legitimate and rightful criticism of the actions of the Israeli government and or the Zionist movements and lobbies is tantamount to anti-Semitism. If such constructive criticism and condemnation come from any Jewish person or groups, Israel and its Zionist regime counterparts will brand such Jewish persons and groups as self-hating Jews, which is rooted in the notion, perception, and concept of anti-Semitism. As a result of this weaponization campaign of the terminology anti-Semitism, many politicians, celebrities, prominent athletes, leaders of academic institutions, including university presidents, as well as ordinary citizens, civilians, and civil servants, are so afraid to speak out against Israel's atrocities, even though they know fully well, deep down, their human conscience, that what is currently obtaining in Gaza is clearly a genocide, ethnic cleansing, and apartheid perpetrated by the Israeli government against the Palestinian people. Here is the question to ask. Who are the Semitic people? Are the Semitic people exclusively our Jewish brothers and sisters? If the Semitic people are those who are culturally, ethnically, and racially people of the Middle East, including Arabs and Jews, how is it then the case that anti-Semitism is only seen, read, taught within the exclusive lens of the Jewish people and not including their Arab cousins? Have you ever heard any unjustifiable condemnation and prejudicial attacks on any Arab person or persons of Arab descent being declared by any president, politician, celebrity, or famous athletes in America or Europe as anti-Semitic or anti-Semitism? A typical example is the recent murdering and butchering of an innocent 6-year-old Palestinian American child, Wadia Al-Fayoum, in Chicago by a 71-year-old white American landlord on 14th of October 2023, only because the child was a Palestinian American. Why wasn't it condemned as anti-Semitic act, since the little Arab child was a member of the Semitic group of people? This is because many Americans and Europeans have been programmed and brainwashed to ignorantly believe that the Arabs are not people of the Semitic tribes or are not Semitic people. This is the same kind of programming, brainwashing, manipulation, orchestration we see carried out by the Zionist movements and their Western allies, including detractors of Islam and Islamophobes. When terminologies are coined and concocted by them against Muslims and Islam, we say we are called Muslims, but they insist to call us Mohammedans in their books and in their writings. We say jihad means to strive and struggle in the path of Allah. They say no, jihad means to fight and kill innocent people and convert them to Islam. We say Sharia is a comprehensive set of Islamic law that govern the lives of Muslims, covering marriages, contracts, including civil and criminal laws, no murder, no stealing, no lying, no fornication, adultery, no compulsion in religion, no disrespect for parents, no immorality. But they say no, Sharia law is actually cutting off people's hands and feet. We say Islam is peace and submission to the will of the Almighty Allah, our creator, cherisher, and sustainer. But they say Islam is Islamic fascism, Islamic radicalism, Islamic fundamentalism. All of these are terminologies that they themselves concocted and have no room in Islam. This phenomenon is not a mere accident by the detractors of Islam, the Israeli government, the Zionist lobby, and their collaborating Western allies such as America, Britain, France, and the European Union counterparts, but rather it is deliberately designed to propagate the narrative that our Jewish brothers and sisters are superior to their Arab cousins, and by extension they are superior to all other races because they claim to be the chosen people of God, who do everything right and can never be wrong as per the Zionist ideology. This Zionist Israeli ideology of weaponizing the term anti-Semitism, blended with this idea of supremacy over others and espousing the deeply held notion and mentality of being chosen by God, is in itself at the peak of racism, xenophobia, and arrogance. The Almighty Allah tells us in His glorious Quran that every human life is honored, dignified, and sacred, regardless or irrespective of whether you are a Muslim, Christian, Jew, Hindu, Buddhist, or an atheist or agnostic. As the Almighty Allah has told us in the glorious Quran in chapter 17 verse 70 in the surah called Surah Al-Isra, in which Allah says, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي Adam. Indeed, we have dignified the children of Adam. Surely we have honored the sons and daughters of the Prophet Adam, for whom we all came. The Almighty Allah also tells us in the glorious Quran that no people, race, or community is better than the other. The one who is most honored by Allah is the one who is most conscious of his or her duty to the Creator, Cherisher, and Sustainer. The one who is most righteous, the one who abides and follows the dictates of the Almighty Allah. Allah says in chapter 49 verse 13 of the surah called Surah Al-Hujurat, يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. O humanity, O you people, note that Allah is addressing human beings, humanity in general. That's why He said, "Oh, you people." He didn't say, "Oh, you Muslims," or "Oh, you believers." Indeed, we created you from a male and a female and made you into peoples, nations, and tribes so that you may get to know one another, not that you may despise one another. Surely the most noble of you in the sight of Allah, God, the most honored of you in the sight of Allah is the most righteous among you. Allah is truly all-knowing, all-aware. On the day of his farewell sermon, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, addressed the Muslims and said, all mankind is from Adam and Eve. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, nor does a non-Arab have any superiority over an Arab. A white has no superiority over a black, nor does a black have any superiority over a white, except by piety or being pious and good action, and except by good deeds. This prophetic saying was 1,400 years ago. Can you imagine how resonant it is in our time? As Muslims and believing people in the Almighty Allah, we should be guided by Islam's position on racism, xenophobia, and arrogance, because these are vices and traits that are satanic in nature and part of the traits and characteristics of Shaitan, Satan, the devil. Do you remember when the Almighty Allah commanded Shaitan or Satan, the devil, to prostrate before Prophet Adam? What was Shaitan's response? Allah says in chapter 7 verse 12 in the surah called Surah Al-A'raf, قَالَ مَا مَنَعَكَ أَلَّا تَسْجُدَ إِذْ أَمَرْتُكَ قَالَ مَا مَنَعَكَ أَلَّا تَسْجُدَ إِذْ أَمَرْتُكَ قَالَ أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِّنْهُ خَلَقْتَنِي مِن نَّارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِن طِينٍ. Allah asked Shaitan or Satan or Iblis, What prevented you from prostrating to Prophet Adam when I commanded you to do so? Shaitan or Satan or Iblis replied, because I am better than he is. You, Allah, created me from fire, and you created him from dust or dirt or clay. Now, it is worth noting that this was the beginning and the origin of arrogance, racism, xenophobia, and supremacist ideology. This is exactly what we are witnessing as it relates to the plight of the Palestinian people in Gaza and the West Bank, vis-a-vis the killings and destruction being carried out by the Israeli government soldiers. This is exactly what the Defense Minister of Israel, Yoav Gallant, meant when he was quoted as saying Israel was fighting human animals and ordered a complete siege of Gaza Strip, saying no water, no fuel, and no food for Gaza. This is exactly what the President of Israel, Isaac Herzog, meant when he was quoted as saying in Huffington Post reports as early as October of 2023 that civilians in Gaza are legitimate targets, claiming that there are no civilians in Gaza. This is exactly what the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, meant as reported by NBC News on 29th of October 2023, addressing his soldiers, comparing the Palestinians to the Amaleks, invoking the Amalekites by biblical reference to the Israelites, where the Israelites were allegedly told by their God to kill and exterminate babies, women, children, as well as animals of the ancient tribe of Amalek. They do not see the Palestinians as humans. That's why they have no empathy, no sympathy, no remorse, no human conscience, no morals, as they carry out in broad daylight acts of genocide, ethnic cleansing, and apartheid, while the world watches on. I say to you, the innocent people of Palestine, that there is not an iota of doubt, not a speck or shred of uncertainty, that the days of Netanyahu and his war cabinet, along with their American and European Union allies, will be numbered by the Almighty Allah at his choosing and appointed time, just as the days of Pharaoh, Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin, and others were numbered. And today it is as if they did not even exist. Allah says in the glorious Quran in chapter 71, verse 4, in the chapter named after Prophet Noah, Allah says, Inna ajalallahi iza ja'a la yu'akhkhar law kuntum ta'lamun. Indeed, when the time set by Allah comes, it cannot be delayed, if only you knew. Surely the term of Allah, when it comes, it is not postponed, if only you knew. May Allah protect them all and grant them speedy relief and recovery, inshallah. Ameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.